Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. Thank you so much for joining me today. So if you're new here, I channel my messages. I have spirit guides that I work with to help me answer questions that I have and sometimes my viewers have. And these spirit guides will come through me and use about 60% of my consciousness, and I will be using about 40% of my consciousness. So I wanted to jump on here today and talk to you about, well, the craziness that is happening in our world and in our political world. We have had so many just bizarre things happening. And I want to give you a message from the spirit guides that I think will help you understand them and see them in a new light and hopefully give you some hope for the future. So I don't know about you, but I personally am finding myself wanting more justice, right? Where is the justice? We have Trump saying he's not going to give a DNA sample to the court in regards to E. Jean Carroll's case against him for sexual assault. We have Trump saying that we should just throw the Constitution out. I mean, how do you wrap your head around that? Also, all in 1 week, he then invited an anti-Semite and a racist to have dinner with him. There's just so many things that are happening in our world, not only in the United States, but obviously throughout other countries. In Iran, we've had a lot of protests there, women and men, but both of them protesting the limitations on women and how they can dress. And we have a big breakthrough. And even if it is just lip service, it is a big breakthrough. We have the leadership in Iran saying, okay, we'll take a look at this. Maybe we'll decide to do something different with the requirements. Why did they do that? Well, because thousands of people protested. And these people said, we do not care. We are ready to die for our cause. And that gets the attention of dictators. You know, there at some point you realize that that's not the way to cow these people, that you're going to have to do something else. And so changes are made. Progress is made. You also see this happening in China, where people are saying, we don't want to wear these masks because they had a fire. People couldn't get out. In China, they literally lock you in your housing and you're not able to leave. It's very, very controlled because their vaccines don't work. So they have to try to contain the virus in other ways. So you have protesters in China saying, we want more freedom. We don't care anymore. And China is another one of those countries that tends to crack down very hard on protests. But yet these people were able to make an impression. They were able to start changes rolling. So this is where we are in the world. I just want to catch you up with this, because even though it looks dark, it looks bleak, it looks like there's just no justice, that justice is too slow, that maybe even that people that have power will never be brought to justice, I want to give you a message that I got from the guides, the spirit guides this morning, that I thought was pretty interesting. So here's what they had to say in regards to this particular situation. They said, we're not going to go back. We're not going to go back. This means that we are moving forward as a humanity on Earth, even though there are energies that are trying to pull us backwards or trying to control us. They're not going to win. It's not possible. Period. End of story. That's what they told me. So even though, let's just take the United States, for instance, even though we're suffering right now with a situation where we feel like maybe our courts are not, neutral, our law enforcement isn't protecting the right people or doing the right things, our news channels, agencies, or journalists are not reporting on things that we think are important, or perhaps they're reporting on things with a slant, and, you know, all those other things going on in the world, like the war in Ukraine. Even though these things are going on and it does seem like it's pretty bleak, the spirit guides would like to tell you that right now there are showers of light coming down onto the world, not just any one particular place, but the entire planet. And these showers of light actually have light codes in them. So there's information. Of course, it's love. There's love in that light. There's healing in that light, but there's also information in that light that is meant to upgrade us, to upgrade our DNA. Now, what's interesting about that is that it's actually feeling to us a little like a jangly energy. It's not actually feeling like love and light. It's not calming us down, which I thought was very interesting. And this is why I'm doing this video, because on top of everything that's going on, right, all the just shenanigans and the kind of bleak, dark things that are happening, the one thing that's coming to help us is actually making our energy feel a little weird or jangly or not exactly soothed. Okay, so I'm going to give you some tips on how to really use this energy, to use this light that's happening. Before I do that, I want to go back and explain to you why they're not going to win, why the, you know, with the guides, the spirit guides, it's not right and wrong per se. It's not that they think Republicans are evil or that the religious right is evil. And they don't actually think anybody's evil. But what they would say is that will the humans choose love and light, or will the humans choose control and judgment and hate? So they kind of see it in those terms. So the reason they're saying that we're not going to go backwards towards more judgment or more hate or more racism or more anti-Semitism or whatever it is, the reason we're not going backwards, despite all, you know, to the contrary, is because we're ascending. And humans are ascending, but more importantly, Mother Earth is ascending. So the earth that we live on, that we're symbiotically connected to, when she breathes, we breathe, right? Is ascending. She herself is ascending. Now, we're still going to be a polarized planet. We're not going to ascend to this nirvana place where everybody is singing Kumbaya and eating chocolate bonbons. Okay, but we are going to ascend to a much less strident energy. Now, this is not going to happen next year, and it's not going to happen next month, but we are moving that direction. So that is why the guides can say unequivocally that judgment and hate and division and racism and anti-Semitism and everything that's going on right now, it's big in our energy. It's going to stay big in our energy for a little bit longer, and then it's going to start diminishing. Because to stay on this planet, you're going to need to match the vibration of the planet. And if the planet is ascending and you're not, you're just not going to stay here. You're either going to cross over or whatever is going to happen, but you're not going to stay here. You know, and sometimes I wonder if that's why people like Musk want to get on a spaceship and fly to Mars, right? Because they know they can't stay here. Their energy isn't going to match the vibration of Earth. Now, it doesn't mean that whenever we more fully go into this ascension, doesn't mean that we won't have trials or we won't have lessons or we won't have some kind of negative or whatever you want to call it energy, because we will, because this is a school, but definitely on an order of magnitude less. And that's also because as Earth is ascending, humans are ascending, and we are getting these light codes. So our DNA is being upgraded. Now, even without that, all humans have abilities. All humans have abilities. Now, it's just like your fingerprints. It's going to be different. My abilities are going to be different than your abilities. Maybe you are into numerology and you're into astrology and you're into psychic and you're into mediumship and you're into Akashic records, or maybe you're just spiritual. Maybe you're just a person who feels spiritual. Doesn't matter. They don't use labels. They don't understand labels. Each person is supposed to pulse energy in resonance with the joy in their heart. And that's the only thing they care about, is that we have joy in our heart. We feel that as much as we can. Some, humans, again, polarized environment. We're not always going to be joyful. We're going to have grief and pain and anger and all those things, and that's normal. But to the degree that we can make joy and love a bigger part of our life, the better we'll feel, the happier we'll feel, and the better and bigger our energy is. Okay? Now, with these light codes coming down, the energy feels jangly. I don't know if that's a word, but the energy feels unsettling because our energy isn't a match for it just yet. It's a little bit stronger than humans' energy is at this time. Now, I'm sure there's some humans out there that are like, oh, it feels great. And that's wonderful. Again, we all are different. Some people might not feel anything. Other people might feel really like it's an attack, that it feels weird, like some powerful thing is coming over you. Some people just might feel that there's a change coming and that makes them feel edgy or off. So what the guides are saying, if you would like to utilize this energy in a more activated way, they suggest that you allow the energy. So you would say, for my highest good, I'm not giving permission to anybody to take over my energy, and I'm not giving up anything at all. I'm not giving up my sovereignty. I'm not giving up my freedom, my independence. But I am saying that for my highest good, if there's energy here that can help me, that is of the divine, that I would be open to it. Okay? Now, really and truly, because this is a heavier, like a download, if you will, it's helpful if you're in a meditative state, because it is a pretty heavy download. It's a pretty big download, and it's going to be a lot harder to get that download if you're just doing like a walking meditation or even a chanting meditation. It could be harder because your energy is being used when you're doing those things. Whereas if you're doing a meditation where you're very relaxed and you're zoned out and your ego thinking brain is over here somewhere, then the spirit guides can come in and administer the download in a way that is incremental and very, very incremental, because you don't want this to just come all the way in all at once. I will say that I one time was getting a really big download, much like this. And I was in a meditation when I knew that there was an entity behind me, and there was a device and there was a valve. And the valve was just barely open. Like if you're on your faucet in your sink, you just have like a dribble coming out. Well, I'm always like, impatient. So I'm like, if a little bit is good, 3 times is better. So I remember in my meditation telling this entity that was not my spirit guide, but a helper in some way, to go ahead and crank that thing open, right? Like, let's get this party started. And this is how they talk to you. It's unemotional. There's no emotion in their communication. And with a very flat sort of voice, they said to me, "It will kill you." So I was like, oh, in that case, never mind. Yeah, trickle's good. That's really good. Good call, right? So this downloaded information will likely be downloaded to you through multiple sessions. A lot of times this can happen in your sleep. So many, many times this happens in our sleep and we're not even aware of it. But this is a pretty big energetic download. So you might be aware of it, or you might just be aware of sleeping more. You might be aware of being tired more, because this can make you tired versus making you energetic, because your body has to assimilate this energy. So that's work. Your body is working hard to integrate this energy into your energy. And if you do this, so what am I saying? I'm saying some people won't do it, and that's fine. And they might not even get the download because their body is so out of sync with it. And that's fine. It's not going to kill you to not get the download, right? It is there for us, and it does have a healing component. Now, other people, the download, what they showed me was, it kind of is like, when who's out in a hailstorm, but let's just say you were out in a hailstorm and it's just like ping, ping. I'm not talking about golf balls here. I'm just talking about, it's just like things that just kind of bounce off of you. That's how it could be. If you're not ready to accept the energy, it could just bounce off of you. Now, that could make you feel weird, or it could make you like, I don't know, I didn't notice anything. It really depends on how in tune you are with your own body. Okay. Third situation is that the energy is just coming in, and it's kind of not coming in, but it's around you. It's just kind of going around you, and you feel it, and it feels weird. That's where I'm talking about jangly. Some change is going to happen, or I don't feel right, or I don't know, something's weird, right? That's when they would say, if you're open to the healing in the process, then do a meditation, and then this process will start to happen more organically, and you won't feel so jangly. Now, these light codes are going to, we get these light codes, and again, some of you might get them in sleep. After we get these light codes, you're going to have a boost in your abilities. Whether you feel like you're psychic or not, does not matter. You're going to have a boost. So if you don't feel like you're psychic, you might start getting psychic hits. If you feel like you do have intuition, you might have more vivid dreams, or more premonitions, or more psychic hits. If you know that you're psychic, you might notice an uptick in how psychic you are. Okay. So it does come with that added benefit. And it also has a healing component. Now, for the best thing for the healing component to work better, they would ask that we consciously intentionally say, I'm ready to release. That's all you have to do. If you will give permission to your spirit guides, I'm ready to release whatever I need to release for my highest good. Then whenever that process happens, be it in your sleep or in a meditation, or even you're getting Reiki or massage or something, it can happen. Then the healing will actually have two components. It will have, they're calling it a divestiture. So where they help you offload or release energy that you don't need. And then the healing can come in, and the healing will have a much bigger benefit to you. It's sort of like, if you have a piece of, a piece of rotten wood and you know it's rotted, but you just put some paint on it. So to get the healing without the releasing of that rotten area is not going to be quite as good for you. So it's nice to have the release. Now, if you're worried that when you say, I'm ready to release whatever, that something that you care about is going to leave you, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that what's going to happen is perhaps you're releasing some of the trauma or the trauma bond or the anger or the grief. I think you're actually working on an emotional, energetic level. I don't think that people are just going to leave your life unless your vibration rises and they don't feel comfortable with you because of your vibration. Now, this doesn't mean that your vibration rises and you go around telling everybody how high your vibration is and how you're an ascended master. And that's not at all what they're talking about. It's just your energy. It's just your energy. You might find that a friend that you've had that maybe hasn't been a very good friend to you moves on, or you might find that you move on because it doesn't feel good to be with that person anymore. You may find that you go get a better job, or you get something better in your life. You bring more money into your life. When we raise our vibration, these are the things, these are the outcomes. So it's really beneficial to do that. Now, if you don't do anything, you might be asking, well, what if I just don't do anything? Well, what they're telling me is that the energy will still benefit you, but it will benefit your outer aura because that's what it's going to be accessible to it. It's not going to come into your body. So it's not going to be in here, but it will be in your outer aura and it will benefit you. I mean, this is the point. This is the reason why they're pouring light onto the earth right now, because the earth is sort of leaving us behind in a sense, right? The earth is saying, hey, I'm ascending. Didn't you get the invitation to the party? And now the universe is saying, okay, let us help the humans that are living symbiotically on the planet. Let's help them better match the earth's newfound vibration. Okay. Now, all that to say that these terrible, no good things that are happening are going to continue happening for some period of time. Could be 6 months. It could be a year, but we're not, I want you to understand that there's no way, they're telling me unequivocally, there's no way we're going to go back to The Handmaid's Tale. We're not going to go back to prohibition. We're not going to go back to Jim Crow. I mean, all these things that just feel like we're going back to some crazy time in our history where we were barely evolved from a rock. You know, we're not going back there. Humans are being moved along on a conveyor belt, they're showing me. So even if we do nothing, we're still being moved. We're still ascending. So I think that's helpful. I think it's helpful to know that we're going to be having these light code showers, apparently mostly through December. There's some other things that are happening in January, but the light code showers that I'm seeing right now are kind of now through the end of December, with a heightened area around the December 16, 17, 18, 19. Right in that area, there's sort of like a fine-tuning of them. They're showing me this in a actual tone. So there's actually like a new tone that comes down, and those, so you might think of these initial light code showers as a bit coarse, like coarse salt maybe. And then this tone comes down and then refines the energy. cleans it up, refines it, and allows it to fit better in the human body. So hopefully this was helpful to you. I thought that it was quite helpful. I thought it was pretty interesting, actually, and it explains why I'm a little bit jangly. And it also helps me understand that as dark as it looks, we're not going to go backwards. We're going to continue to deal with this. And that is something important to say. We will deal with it. We are going to have as if new eyes. We will see things in a new way going into the new year. And we will be able to see without this gauze over our eyes. We're going to be able to see clearly, and we're going to demand justice. We're going to demand equal and fair treatment among all people, whether it's in the United States or whether it's in another country. So this is an energy that's sort of worldwide as well. So listen, I'll be back soon with more information. Please let me know in the comments if you thought this was helpful, or if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them. Thank you so much for watching this, and take really good care of yourself, and we'll talk soon.